Hey guys, I just wanted to practice a couple of problems here that I've kind of noticed that we may have forgot how to solve or just what do we do. So I got a couple problems here on finding the area of a circle. And as you kind of see, all of my problems are a little different in that some of them we need to use the radius and there's other ones where we have to use the diameter. So just grab a pencil and paper with a calculator and just follow along because as you'll kind of see, it's a little easy the more that we start to do them. So as it said, it says determine the area of the circle given each measurement, and they want us to use 3.14 for pi, and we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. So in part A, they're telling us that our diameter is 8. So I know that D equals 8. Now, when I have to solve for area, I know that I need a radius because the equation that we're using is area equals pi r squared. So because I have a diameter, I need to change that to a radius. So for me to get to a radius, I have to divide it by 2. So 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. So now I go ahead and I put that into my equation. So A equals, I know pi is 3.14 times 4 squared. Well, 4 squared we know is 4 times 4. That gives us 16. So now all I'm doing is 3.14 times 16. So when I go and I put that into my calculator, I'm going to end up doing 3.14 times 16. That gives me 50.24. So I have 50.24 square inches. That's how we solve the one with diameter. So just to recap, when they give us the diameter, here's the cheat code, divided by 2. So if I take my diameter and I divide it by 2, that ends up giving me my radius. Now that I have my radius, just put that in for r. So then we square r and then multiply it times 3.14. Let's try B. So in B, I know my radius, which is r, equals 10. Well, I'm already good right there. I don't have to change anything because I already have my radius. So I can automatically put that into my problem. So I have 3.14 times 10 squared. Well, I know that 3.1, I know that 10 squared is just 100. So now all I do is put that into my calculator of 3.14 times 100. And I end up getting 314 square inches. Okay, so all we did was we already had R. We didn't need to change anything. So I put my R in for 10. I squared 10. That gives me 100. And I multiply 100 times 3.14 and we get 314 square inches. Next, let's try C. So for C, I have a radius of 1.5. So once again, I don't need to change anything because I already have my radius. So I go ahead and I do 3.14 times 1.5 squared. So I go ahead and I put 1.5 into my calculator and I square it. And that ends up giving me 2.25. So now I'm going to do 3.14 times 2.25. And when I end up multiplying it times 3.14, I get 7.065. But here's the problem. They asked us to round this to the nearest hundredth. So the 6 is in my hundredth place. So I underline the number I am rounding to and I circle the number behind it. And I just ask, is the number I circle, is it 5 or more? Because it's 5 or more, I can add 1 to my 6. So then I end up getting 7.07. That's going to be square feet. So my answer for that one is 7.07 square feet. The rounding part, I always say just underline the place that we're rounding to, circle the number behind it, and we just ask, is the number we circled, is it 5 or more? And if you're wondering what 5 or more means, that just means is it 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. If the number we circle, if it's one of those numbers, add 1 to the number that we underline. If it's not 5 or more, leave the number that we underlined alone and just cross out the number that we circled. That's all you do. Okay? So let's go to our last problem where they're saying we have a diameter of 8.8. So in this problem, I know that my diameter is 8.8. But once again, because I have a diameter, I need to get to a radius. So I have to divide it by 2. So if I divide 8.8 by 2, I get 4.4. So now that I have my radius, I can go ahead and put that into my equation. So I have 3.14 times 4.4 squared. So when I go to square 4.4, I end up with 19.36. So I got to do 3.14 times 19.36. When I multiply those two numbers, I end up having an area of 60.7904. So remember, we said that we have to round to the hundredths place. So I underline the 9 because that's in the hundredths place, and then I circle the number behind it. And then I just ask, is the number I circle, is it 5 or more? Well, I have 0, so it's not five or more. So we cross out the number we cross out the number we circled, and I just leave everything in front of it. And if you're wondering about that 4, well, anything behind the number we circled just goes away. So we crossed out the 0, and you can even say we crossed out the 4, and we leave everything in front the same. So my answer ends up being 60.79 square yards. Okay? So for each one of these problems, as you saw, if it's the diameter, I have to divide it by 2 to give me my radius. Once I have my radius, I put it in for r, we square it, and we multiply it times 3.14. If they give me the radius, well, just take your radius, put it in for r, square it, and multiply it times 3.14. When it comes to rounding, all you have to do, round the number in the place that underline the number in the place that we're looking for, circle the number behind it, and just ask, is that number 5 or more? If it's 5 or more, add 1 to the number we underline. And I would even say just cross out the numbers behind the number we underline. Okay? And if we had to add 1 to it, we just bring that number down and the number's in front. If it's not 5 or more, just leave the numbers alone and just cross out the numbers behind what you underlined. If you have any questions on the rounding piece or even on solving for area of a circle, make sure you come and see me, and I'll see you guys later.